The Liberal government's fall economic update has exposed a jaw-dropping $62 billion deficit, skyrocketing more than 50% above the $40 billion promised in the spring budget, perhaps sarcastically titled Fairness for Every Generation. According to the fall update, which was apparently so bad that our finance and deputy prime minister resigned rather than face the public's wrath, Canada's economy is in a slump. You don't say. Revised growth predictions and government revenues are now expected to be $5.5 billion lower than previously thought. However, surprisingly, this should be considered the good news. The bad? New and mostly frivolous spending was also on the agenda, and here's how it looks. $1.3 billion will be earmarked for a comprehensive border security package over the next 6 years. This was largely in response to Trump's 25% tariff threat if Canada doesn't tighten its border security. Another $2.4 billion is going to housing initiatives, which have already failed miserably, which is probably why our housing minister, Sean Fraser, also just stepped down. There will be $1.7 billion for new spending for healthcare and accommodations, specifically for asylum seekers, another $598 million for the already abysmal gun buyback program that has already spent over $100 million without collecting a single gun, nearly $2 billion for more green energy projects because the $300 million that padded Liberal pockets from the first Green Slush Fund just wasn't enough, and $90 million towards a sexual and reproductive health fund because for some reason we just can't seem to figure out our own biology. However, the bulk of the deficit increase was attributed to funds set aside for future Indigenous claims, reflecting a commitment to proactively address historical grievances. Let me say that again. The lion's share of this ballooning deficit is being set aside for future Indigenous claims to right the wrongs of our history? Okay, well, this amounts to $16.4 billion over several years. Oh, additionally, nearly $5 billion was allocated for wrapping up COVID-19 related expenses, including the write-off of loans and costs for expired vaccines, but better in the garbage than in your arm. Now, I want to take 1 minute to give you some perspective using data on just how this $22 billion mistake impacts Canadian taxpayers, so let's do some quick math. The total federal budget is going to blow past $500 billion, a rather steep increase from $292 billion in 2014, but that's just a fun fact. Let's focus specifically on the additional $22 billion deficit. According to the federal government, the average family contributes $22,500 per year in federal taxes alone. This includes income tax, a portion of HST, excise taxes, and of course, payroll tax. According to recent data from Stats Canada, the average family size in Canada is approximately 2.9 people. Now, I know they don't all pay taxes, but these taxes represent their contribution. So when we divide $22,500 by 2.9, this means the average person in Canada contributes $7,759 annually to Trudeau and the gang. So just to blow through the extra $22 billion, our federal government wasted the annual tax contributions of 2,835,416 people. This is more than the population of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Prince Edward Island, and all of our territories put together. As you can see, this is not a small mistake. These people were elected to manage our nation, but make no mistake, it is a business. While they dodge any real accountability, and many will go on to jobs at the UN, the WHO, and the like after screwing us all over, let us at the very least learn to be a more informed electorate. Canada needs competent leadership, and we need to usher in policy that will demand accountability from these absolute political pirates. I don't even know what to call these people anymore.